Welcome to the BFNL Netball Show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We're back. This time we haven't got the cast of thousands behind us that are annoying the heck out of us like they did last week. We do have a studio audience, but they're very nice and proper and just doing the right things this week. So great to be with you once again on the BFNL Netball Show. Sean Kelly's my name. Joining me as always, Matt Wiltshire, my co-host. Matty, welcome back.
Great to be back for another exciting show, mate.
It will be indeed. Have a listen to what we've got on tap this week. We've got, of course, our Stockland Wendouree Player of the Week. We've got Mel McCauley from the Melton Football Netball Club, of course, the coach. And then to join us to preview this week's games, we've got key defender from the Sebastopol Footy Club and your favourite, Rhiannon Banner.
Yep, that'll be fantastic. She's sitting behind the camera now, shaking a little bit. I think she's a bit nervous to come on the screen.
I think she is as well, so we'll throw the hard-hitting ones at her later on.
Exactly.
But before we do that, we've got to have a look at the games that were played last week in the Gull & Company A-grade competition. We'll start with the game out at the Eastern Oval between East Point and Darley, a 43-23 win to East Point. Cindy Daniel scored 27 goals to lead the way for East Point. Brianna Burke and Tanya Rawnsley scoring the goals for Darley. Best players for East Point, the Van Dyke sisters and Cindy Daniel. And for Darley, it was Burke, Rawnsley and Rosato. Really crucial game, this one, now that it's given a two-game gap between East Point in 6th and Darley in 7th. We wouldn't say that the finals race is over just yet, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, no, exactly. This was a really must-win game for East Point to secure their spot for that 6th place for the finals, and sort of a similar situation as well for Darley. If they won this game, they would have been right up there to verge on that 6th spot. So now, as Nutty's yelling at Banner, loves it. So yeah, Darley now really have to win some unexpected games, some upsets to try and get up into that 6th spot and get over the top of East Point. But really good playing there by East Point, winning by 20 goals over the team that's just one below them on the ladder. So
there wasn't much in this game at half-time. There's only 2 goals in it. After half-time, East Point swung MRI back into defence. Made a bit of difference from then, obviously. From then onwards, East Point took control of the game. We want to get one of these minions just to lock our door as well, so we don't get fools coming in like they did just then and trying to interrupt our peace. Melton taking on Bacchus Marsh this week. What a game this was. 104-19 Melton victory. Mel McCauley, 92 of those 104 goals. Jess Bartlett, the other 12 as well. Linda Powell, 13 goals for Bacchus Marsh. Birch, Bartlett and Carter, the better players for Melton. Closter, Walsh and Reid for Bacchus Marsh. And I couldn't get over this game. I was at this game. I watched most of the second half, and someone texted me asking me the scores, and I think I was ready to text saying, yep, it's 89-13 by the time I looked up. By the time I'd actually sent the text, it was 94-13. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Great work by Melton on the weekend, Matty, and I reckon it's a Melton club record, and it's probably verging on a BFL record as well.
Yeah, it has to be. That's definitely the first time I've seen a score over 100 goals, so it's just fantastic. I remember you messaging me saying they're on 90-something, and I thought, geez, they get to 100, that's a fantastic effort. So to get there and for Mel to shoot 92 of them, I think looking at her shots, she only missed around 10 out of 92. So having a 92% accuracy when you shoot 92 goals is obviously absolutely outstanding. So they've on top of the ladder now. They've overtaken Medan with obviously a big percentage boost, and I'm going to say they're the new team to beat. I've got a new team every week, which is the new team to beat. But keep changing my mind. But that is a fantastic performance, obviously. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens the rest of the season.
Yeah, it will indeed. And it sent a bit of a panic into the Melton camp because, as you know, our score sheets only go as far as 80 goals. At three-quarter time, Katie Williams came and said, we've got no more room on the score sheet. And Mel's like, so what, are you going to tell us to stop playing and stop scoring? In the end, they went and got another score sheet, completed the job, and a fantastic win by the Bloods. And I know we've said it before that the Melton game plan revolves a lot around lobbing the ball up high to Mel McCauley, and it did again. But it just worked so well because she was able to get the right position. She didn't really stray too far from goal, which is why shooting accuracy is so high, because she takes the shots very close into goal and she just uses her height and uses her reach just to pluck the ball out from mid-air and just grab it and get herself in fantastic positions. So as much as we try and say double team her, as much as we say try and cut down the lob pass, it's very, very difficult, as the Bacchus Marsh defenders found out on the weekend.
Yeah, she's pretty much impossible to stop. I don't know how someone is going to do it, so it'll be interesting to see if she can be stopped first this season, because if they do that, that'll really shut down Melton's sides. Obviously, the other shooter, still a fantastic player, most likely.
Jess Bartlett played very well as well, and she was one of the keys that really got the ball into Mel.
Yep.
The way that they controlled the ball through the centre court was what won them the game. It was obviously they have to get the ball forward that many times to get it to Mel, and obviously she does a fantastic job when it's there, but Libby Birch, Maddie Carter, Jess Bartlett around that mid-court really getting the ball down and feeding Mel, that was the difference to the game, not so much Mel herself.
It's amazing how much you know about netball, Shawnee. The names you
Oh,
just
watch the
realise
game.
on the netball show. I think, how do you do this? So, where were you?
Watch that one. North Ballarat City took on Melton South on the weekend at Eureka Stadium, and with the good Melton South came out once again this week. We know how inconsistent they've been, and they really gave North City a run for their money. 37-30 result, a win to North Ballarat City, but after quarter time, they level pegged this game throughout. Gina McCartan, 19 goals for North City. Tani Nestor, 15 as well. Stacey McCartan, Sarah Milton and Emma Church, they're better players. For Melton South, Reese Carter-Coleman, 15 goals, led the way. Linda Nicello, Soli Rapati and Jill Vanderos, the better players for Melton South. Really good performance by North City, getting themselves onto the winners list after a couple of weeks off it. But it was a game where Melton South, once again, probably maddeningly in many ways, showed that they can match it with these top sides.
Yeah, this was a lot closer than I definitely anticipated. They both play similar styles of that game, both very quick, not really a lot of height in their teams, but move the ball very quickly. And I thought North here would have had the better one, but by more than 7 goals. So well done to Melton South there. Hopefully this sort of gives them a bit more confidence moving into the rest of the season, so they can start with putting a few wins on the board. And you never know, they could get in the finals if they do a few upsets, but yeah, all credit to North Ballarat City on a win. That's good to see them back on the winning board and making their way up the ladder.
They are indeed. Really close game played at the City Oval last weekend. Redan taking on Sebastopol. It was Redan winning the game, but not by the margin everyone expected. It was 37-35. Really good display by Sebastopol, and they trailed by 6 at half time and then reeled Redan back in during the third quarter to just the 2-goal gap. But unfortunately for the Boroughs, they couldn't bridge that gap in the end. Emma Henry, 19 goals for Redan on the weekend. Georgia Can, 21 for Sebastopol as well. Didn't get Redan's better players, but we did for Sebastopol. We know that Erin Added and Caitlin Ashmore were their better players, as well as the lady that Nunny just mentioned in the background as well, Rhiannon Banner, amongst the better players in defence in what was a really solid game for Sebastopol. They put 4 quarters together, which is something that we mentioned on this show last week they haven't done for a while. They put the 4 quarters together, and they nearly knocked off what was then the top team by doing so.
Yeah, look, they've been more competitive for the whole season. They just can't seem to get over the line in these tight games where they really could win and vault themselves into a finals position. But look, Redan, this is the third time this season they've won by 2 goals or less. So they've had a couple of tight games. I'm sure Kate McMahon would have been sitting on the sidelines stressing out in that last quarter. But she does say a win's a win, so she'll be happy to get over the line with that one. But they've dropped down to second spot, which I know is still equal.
It's stiff.
Still equal first. Very stiff from
It's
a
stiff. You go to the
percentage.
top of the ladder, you win the game, and then you get knocked off top spot.
Exactly, but I'm sure they'll be back up there in weeks to come. I don't think they've too tough of a draw for the rest couple of games, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, good win by Redan. Also a good win by Sunbury on the weekend, 52-36 against Lake Wendouree. Sophie Gunn, the standout, with 43 goals on the weekend for Sunbury. Chrissy James, 19 for Lake Wendouree to lead their scorers. Stanley, Anstey and Gunn, the better players for Sunbury. Williams, Hart and Boyle for Lake Wendouree. Lake Wendouree now facing what North City did a couple of weeks ago. They've now dropped 2 in a row against these teams that are in that same cluster as them. Sunbury trotting out their full-strength lineup and really doing a job against Lake Wendouree.
Yeah, this really shows how strong Sunbury are. They're back into their 2013 form. Not that they really were at it for the rest of the season so far, but they've really shown that they're going to be red-hot premiership contenders this year with Lake Wendouree, a very strong side, and they've been playing some fantastic games the last couple of weeks, showing that they're a top side, and for Sunbury to knock them off by nearly 20 goals, 16, it's fantastic to see, and Sunbury are going to be a very, very handy side for the rest of the season. It'll be interesting to see a Sunbury Melton whenever that match comes up. I'm not too sure when it is, but
I think it is before the end of the season, so it'll be very interesting to watch as we go on. Let's take a brief look at the ladder before we get into the awards and the interviews. Melton on top of the ladder, as you mentioned, tied with Redan and Sunbury, all on 32 points. North Ballarat City a game behind them on 28, then another game back to 2 teams, Lake Wendouree and East Point. There's now 2 games between East Point in 6th and Darley in 7th. Another game back to the Boroughs in 8th. Melton South in 9th and Bacchus Marsh in 10th, both with 8 points. And then the Swannies rounding out the table with the 4 points for the season. Stockland Wendouree Player of the Week time this week, Matty. A bit unconventional we've gone this week because we've actually gone for the best player in a losing side. They didn't lose by a lot though, and she's a player that's been really taking some notice all season so far from the Melton South Football Netball Club, Linda Nicello, who was fantastic against North City on the weekend and has been for a couple of weeks this year, our Round 10 Stockland Wendouree Player of the Week. Congratulations to Linda.
Yeah, very well done to there, Linda. So got yourself a nice Stockland voucher, which will hopefully spend wisely.
Yeah, she will. Obviously coming down to Ballarat when Melton South next play in Ballarat. They're at a home game this week. We'll make sure we get that to Linda before she next heads down this way. Interview time. We caught up with Mel McCauley on her birthday after their huge win against Bacchus Marsh on the weekend. So we presented her with her May Award, for the the SC Technology Group. I'm getting my awards mixed up. SC Technology Group Player of the Month for May. We presented that to her early in the game. She then went and dropped 92 on Bacchus Marsh. After that, she came and had a chat with us. So we'll listen to what Mel has to say. Then we'll come back with our review of this week's games, and we'll bring the lady coughing in the background, Rhiannon Banner, in to help us preview.
Here on the Netball Show this week with Melton coach and birthday girl Mel McCauley. Firstly, Mel, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And you celebrated in a pretty good way today. 104 goals against Bacchus Marsh, 92 you scored yourself. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, look, it was a pretty good game across the board. We had really tight defence right down from Jackie, the goalkeeper, right through. So, yeah, it was really good. Really
tight season this year, it's seen on the ladder, but teams are starting to separate themselves. And I suppose you've flown a little bit under the radar so far this year, your team.
Yeah, look, we just chip away. We work hard when we've got the ball, and we also work hard that if we do make a mistake, that it's all about the turnovers. In terms of the season, yeah, this is quite a good season this year. The fact that the top 5 teams are all sitting within relative points, and then there's a real fight for that 6th position into finals, which is good.
Really handy in the last couple of weeks. I think the last 3 games now, having Brooke Thompson back in the lineup after injury, and you've seen the scores just go, I suppose, that much higher since Brooke's come back in.
Yeah, look, she's an asset to our team, as are all of the girls in our team, but just her leadership out on the court and the drive that she has down there, she really creates those turnovers, and then she's got Jess and Jax to pick up the pieces of those tips and stuff today. So, yeah, it's really good to have her back in the team.
I suppose watching results solely throughout the year, you could be forgiven to think that it's the McCauley show here at Melton, but it's definitely not the case. Obviously, Jess Kalmar's been fantastic for you in defence, and Jess Bartlett really does a good job at goal attack, really helping you out as well. Yeah, well, look, I consider that you're only as good as your team, so there's no I in a team. Yes, I stand down there and shoot the goals and my name goes up there on the scoreboard, but if I can't go down and turn the ball over, I can't turn the ball over from the centre and with Libby, I can't turn it over with Kalmar standing at that wing defence, or Jack and Brooke in the circle. So unless they're doing their job, and I've got the feeders of Mads and Barty that are feeding into me, I simply can't get the ball to shoot. So it's a real team effort. Goals for the rest of the season?
Look, it's about our consistency. I'm not too concerned at the scoreboard or wins and losses. It's more about how we play as a team. I think this year we've really turned it around a bit. Last year we were a bit all over the shop and there wasn't a lot of consistency. But this year I think it's more of a friendship and that we're playing really for each other. So win or loss, we're celebrating.
And a couple of weeks in, I apologise, but our SC Technology Group Player of the Month for May, and you just got your tablet today, so I apologise for getting a bit to get it to you.
Oh no, look, that's okay. Look, you probably wouldn't have wanted to come out the last 2 weeks. It's been torrential downpour here, but today we've got the sunshine, so yeah, it's a good day to come out.
Definitely picked the right day to leave Ballarat. Mel, thanks for joining us and good luck for the rest of the season.
Not a problem. Thanks very much for having me.
Mel McCauley from the Melton Football Netball Club. What a performance she put together last weekend. It's time to move on from last weekend though. Now it's time to talk this weekend's action, and joining us, as you can see, we've got the third person in on the panel. Joining us from the Sebastopol Football Netball Club and also in her guise as an AFL Goldfields employee. It's great to welcome Rhiannon Banner into the show. Welcome, Rhiannon.
Thanks, Shaun.
It's great to finally have you in studio. Your name's probably been mentioned throughout this show and then every week so far, so it's great that you could finally come in and join us.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that. That's all right.
Tell us a little bit about your season today. Obviously, your first season playing netball in the BFL, playing with Sebastopol. How have you found the standard so far?
Oh, it's pretty good. I've never played outdoor netball before, so finding it very different. But yeah, it's a good league, and I'm happy to be at Sebastopol as well.
What is it that brought you down to the Sebastopol Footy Club in the first place?
Oh, Yeah, my
Apart
friend.
from 17,000 phone calls from Georgia Can.
No, Caitlin, she plays down at Sebastopol. I had a friend, I didn't really know anyone in the league, so that's why I came down here.
Because obviously there were some clubs, you live in Melton, and Melton South in particular were approaching you to play as well. So
Yeah, they were, but I can work out down here anyway, so I'm able to come down when I can.
in recent weeks, Sebastopol, and we've mentioned it, haven't been able to string that four-quarter performance together against some of the better sides. You did on the weekend against Rhiannon, you very nearly caused the upset.
Mm-hmm.
Was that noticeable, that difference in being able to get that four-quarter performance?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been having a great... Our third quarter's our worst quarter we've been having, so the third quarter we kind of just said, this one is our best one, so I think that's where it we kind of come back to 2 points at the end of the three-quarter time, so that was one of our better quarters, which is what we needed.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Matty?
No questions for you, Ben. I talk to you every day, so I know absolutely everything about you. So
Okay.
I'm all good.
You've done well there. Nice work indeed. Settled in nicely at Sebastopol now as well, and you've got some really good players. It's probably helped this year that the team has changed up a bit with players like Jessica Carroll's, Libby Danude, Erin Adderton coming back to the club that weren't there last year as well. So you haven't had to kind of assimilate into an already established side, so to speak.
Oh, we had a bit of trouble to start with, but I think that's where we dropped a couple games. But now coming into the second half of the season is where, hopefully we can get a couple more wins because we're getting used to each other and how everyone plays. So, yeah, hopefully we get some more wins.
We're halfway through the season at the moment. We know Georgia said at the start of the year that she wanted to improve on last year, and that improvement meant playing finals.
Mm-hmm.
You're 3 games out at the moment, but obviously the way that the draw works, there is chances obviously where East Point can drop back a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that still a realistic goal, playing finals this year?
Yeah, definitely. That's what Georgia wants, so I'm sure we can hopefully get there.
Fantastic. What Georgia wants, Georgia gets normally as well. So, excuse me, let's start having a look at this week's games. Only the 4 games this week, of course. North Ballarat City and Bacchus Marsh playing each other on Good Friday earlier in the season. Ballarat taking on Sunbury at the Alfred and Oval this week, Maddie. Unfortunately, this could be a bit of a one-sided match with the reigning premiers heading down to face the Swannies.
Yeah, Swannies yet to win a game, and Sunbury are in some fantastic form. I think Sunbury are going to win this one very, very comfortably. I shouldn't be saying very comfortably with my sister playing in the side, but they haven't had the best start to the season. But look, Sunbury, you never know what could happen. They could come thinking it's just a very easy game and could be there to play. They do have some fantastic young players in their side, Ballarat, so it could be interesting, but I'm going to go with Sunbury this one by a fair few.
Rhiannon, you played against Sunbury a couple of weeks ago. You did get to the game late, and you only started playing after quarter time, but it was a really tight game that you guys played up until it was one of the games where you did have that third quarter lapse, though.
Yep.
Sophie Gunn wasn't playing, but you still had a reasonably formidable mid-court combination that you had to contend with that were bringing the ball down into your area. How can you stop them? They're a fantastic side.
Oh, it's very difficult. I think it was a bit different because we were playing them in the rain, so everybody's form drops off a little bit when it starts to get wet. Get scared of slipping on the court. So, they're quite strong, very hard to stop. I haven't played Ballarat yet, so I'm not really sure what they're like, but I just think Sunbury will be too strong for them.
Yeah, Sunbury for mine in this one as well. Darley taking on Lake Wendouree, and what could be an interesting game at Darley Park this week. Darley haven't been too bad in recent weeks. We know that they were up with East Point until half-time on the weekend before getting blown away a bit in the second half. Lake Wendouree will start this game as favourites, but Darley are a sneaky chance here, Rhiannon, because they're playing pretty good netball at the moment.
I haven't played Darley either, so I'm not really sure.
Have you played against anyone this year?
No. I'm not really sure how they'll go, but it could be a close game. I know they did a win last week.
Both teams lost last week.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah, well, there we go.
Good to see you paying attention to the league you're playing.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not really sure how they'll go, but I think Lakers are quite a strong side. I think they've picked up a little bit since we played them in our second round. So, yeah, I think they'll be a little bit too strong as well.
How do you see this one going, Matty?
Yeah, this is one of the games I was talking about earlier for Darley, where they really need to win a game that they're sort of a bit unexpected, win against a side that's above them. So this is definitely a chance. Lakers are actually just they're actually same points as East Point, so there's another one. If they win this game, that's only a 1-game gap between Darley and Lakers for them to get into that finals position. So this game, it really for Darley is a must-win for that finals position. So, but you can't really tip against Lakers. I don't think against the Darley side. Lakers, they've obviously lost last week and the week before, so they don't want to bounce back, and they were in some fantastic form before them 2 losses. So the way Lakers have been playing before the last 2 rounds and the way they're really starting to gel together as a team, I'm going to go with Lakers.
The one positive for Darley in this game is we know that they're probably a little bit undersized this year, Darley, especially in the goal. Lake Wendouree aren't an overly tall side either. They've got a lot of players that are this kind of a stationary kind of height, which will help Darley's cause, but just the fact that there's that much experience throughout that Lake Wendouree side and players that really drive the ball through mid-court, like Katie Williams, Cara Hart, Molly Boyle, that have been fantastic so far this season. Kirsty Walsh as well, obviously, when she decides that she wants to actually play and get on the court and do something, can really just get that ball going well. And look, I think that's what's going to keep Lake Wendouree up and firing this week and get them over the line and consolidate that finals berth. Melton South taking on Sebastopol at the Melton Recreation Reserve this week. Your team playing in your hometown, Rhiannon. How are you going to go coming up against the Melton South crowd?
I'm not really sure. I mean, they've been up and down all season, so I guess it might depend if Andrew's playing, who's their top shooter. So,
of course.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But I think hopefully this will be one of the games where we should hopefully come out with a win. Yeah, I'm not really sure how they're going to be on game day. I guess it's very you're not really sure what's going to happen with them on game day when you get there. So that's what's happened throughout the season. Just looking at it and watching the great netball show you've got going on here, you know. So yeah, hopefully we come out with a win, and this is one of the games where we hopefully can.
And you're right, obviously, Maddie, as we know, it's been a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde story for Melton South sometimes because we haven't known which Melton South side is going to show up. They've run 3 of the top teams, Sunbury, Melton and North City, to within single-figure margins, though. So we know that when they bring it, they bring it. Can they do it this week at home against the Sebastopol side that they're probably reasonably similar on paper? Sebastopol probably that little bit of that talent edge because we know them a bit better than we do the Melton South side. So, very interesting game. Which way are you going with it?
Yeah, I'm going to say this is the game of the round, Melton South and Sebastopol. I think it's going to be a very close one where the others sort of could go a bit of a blowout. So I'm going to go with Sebastopol in a tight one. Just Sebastopol, I think, are a very good side and have been very competitive all season. Just haven't got as many wins on the board as they could have. So I'm going to go Sebastopol with this one. But as you say, Melton South come to play. It's they could definitely get over the line. So interesting game. I
like your tip. I'm not going to agree with it though, and I'm glad that I'm sitting arm's length away from Rhiannon when I say that I think Melton South are going to win this game. I reckon they'll show at home that exactly what they're made of. Obviously, Sebastopol, when they get going, and they showed last week that they are a very, very good side, and when they get going, they're very even across the court. But Melton South have shown the same. They really want this game. You can tell that they really want to get this win and kind of show the league that they're not just a team that plays in spits and spurts. They come out and they're a team that can perform, and I've just got a feeling that it might be a long trip home for the Sebastopol girls on Saturday night, which probably isn't great given that my wife is one of them and she's probably going to be grumpy on Saturday night, but I hope so. Got a feeling it's Melton South that'll win this game, the last game for the round, and probably the people that are going to be upset with you calling the Melton South Sebastopol game the game of the round. East Point taking on Melton, 2 top 6 sides, of course. Melton coming off a record win. East Point, we know how strong they are as a finalist last year and had a very solid win over Darley last weekend. Rhiannon, this is going to be a ripper.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Melton are a great side with Mel, obviously a good shooter, hard to stop. So I'm going to go with an upset. I think East Point might get over the line. They're very, very strong and they're hard to play against. Hopefully they play all their full quarters. I know when we played them, they didn't come out to play in their first round. Thought we were going to be a bit weaker than we were, I think. But no, I think I'm going to go with East Point this week.
Very interesting because East Point probably do have the defensive combination to take on someone like Mel McCauley. They did a really good job against Sophie Gunn playing against Sunbury early this year in what was admittedly a very wet day. But with Eleanor Van Dyke back there that has got some height, and of course Emma Ryan, who may not have the height but can absolutely just jump out of anywhere and can those high balls she can get to, it's going to make for a really interesting game, I think. Yeah,
East Point are one of the teams that if someone can stop Mel, they will be the ones, I think. They've got, obviously the two you just said are fantastic defenders, and it'll be very interesting. So if they can stop Mel, then they could win. But 1v6, I'm going to go with the top side. Melton proved themselves last week that they're flying so far this season. So I'm going to tip Melton by 8 points.
8 points or 8 goals?
No, points.
Okay, just points this week. We're only going with the point system. I'm actually going with Rhiannon. I'm tipping East Point this week. I'm not going to explain the reasons why. You're going to have to wait until the first centre pass at Eastern Oval on Saturday. But I reckon the reasons will be uncovered then as to why I'm tipping East Point over Melton. But we'll leave it at that for this week because that's all the time we've got on the Netball Show. Rhiannon, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Nice of you to come on and have you in studio rather than having just footage of you throughout the season stuffing up. So it's good to know that, and that was a once-off as well. She's been playing fantastically well since then. So we thought we'd better clear that up as well.
Thanks, Shaun.
So thanks for coming in and joining us, Rhiannon.
No worries.
Good luck on the weekend.
Thanks.
Thanks once again having you in, Matt, of course. You're a star, and it's great to have you
Pleasure.
here as always.
It's been a pleasure to be back next week, mate.
And it's fantastic having you here as well, joining us on the BFNL Netball Show. We'll see you again next week.